only need Blender, Gimp, and texture templates in the description. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the dimensions, and I'm going to put the barrel to about 1 meter. And this is important for the texture size. So we'll go ahead and apply the scale, go to UV editing mode, and we're going to create a new image, and we're going to set it to 512 by 512. And the reason why is because at a minimum, for every meter of object, you want about 512 pixel size image. So we're going to start unwrapping this. So I'm going to mark some seams. To do a cylinder very easily, you just cut off the top. This is what it looks like when it's not unwrapped properly. You can't really even tell what's going on. So we're going to cut off the bottom here by marking this seam. Which if we unwrap it, it's going to leave us with a hollow tube. So now we just have to cut out the side of this cylinder. We're going to circle select and deselect anything I don't want clicked. And we just want that one solid edge. We're gonna unwrap, we're gonna cut out this little face on the top little hole we made. And now if we unwrap it, it's very nice and clean. And that's gonna help when we export it into a texture editing software. You'll know where things go by the geometry in the UV map. So we're going to add a material so that we can add that grid texture to our barrel and see if we unwrapped it properly. So where it says base color, click on the little dot and check image texture and set it to UV grid. Now if you go to material preview, you can see that it's perfectly unwrapped because there is no distortion in the checkered image. Now let's move around our UV map by pressing L over they're called UV islands, and it will select the entire detached island and then just move it so we can create some space. And since the majority of the barrel are the sides of the barrel, we're gonna make that a little bigger so we have more texture resolution to work with. Now we're gonna go to UV, export UV layout, and let's call it something like cylinder UV. Now open Gimp. File, open, and find that UV map. So open up one of the textures I gave you called Rust Coarse. And you're going to open that as a layer, so it doesn't open up a new image, it opens up on top of the image we have. Then you're going to drag the layer of the cylinder UVs to the top so you can see where you're placing things. We're going to add a new layer because we're going to make this red. I'll just call it something like red layer. Gonna find a nice red color, not too red, but just a little desaturated, and we're gonna bucket fill. So now we have red metal. Gonna hide the UVs so we can see what we're doing. And I don't want the metal texture to be that coarse, so I'm gonna blur it just a bit. It's gonna smooth things out. About 1.53 is good. You can see that it blurred out those harsh speckles. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to tile seamless so that if there are any seams on our model, you won't be able to tell. We're going to open up another layer and we're going to put the flammable image. I'm going to rectangle select, and I'm just going to select the border of this image, and I'm going to crop it out. So go to where it says layer up top and crop to selection. Just get rid of that extra white we don't need. Now we'll enable UV so we can see where to place this, and we'll rotate this, and the top of the barrel is actually towards the left. So we'll do -90 degrees. Click rotate. We're going to place the layer on the very top, and we're going to scale this down so that it fits in the middle of the 3 segments. And then we'll move it to about the middle. And zoom in so that I can see that it's lined up to the best of my abilities. Layer for the white strip that goes in the middle of these explosive barrels. I'm going to rectangle select that area so that I don't accidentally mark somewhere else. I'm going to zoom in, make sure that the rectangle select is lined up properly. And I'm going to select white and bucket fill. I'm going to move the layer up and change the mode to linear burn. Nope, sorry. Linear light. Now we have our white middle strip. We're going to open up another layer, and we're going to add the rust. It's going to give it some definition. I'm going to rotate that so it looks like it's coming from the top, so -90. And we're going to scale the layer to the size of the picture. And if it goes a little over, that's okay. It just falls off. It's not included in the image at all. So just squash and stretch it until it looks pretty decent, and we'll call that good. I'm going to duplicate that layer, and I'm going to shrink it down because I want the top and bottom of the barrel to be more rusty. I wasn't satisfied with the amount of rust from the other one. And then I will also make the rust seamless. So far, so good. Starting to take form. We're going to set these to darken only. And I'm going to duplicate the layer, and I'm going to change the mode so that it looks better on the white. You can see the difference there. I want the label to be under the rust. And let's export that into Blender and see how it looks. I'll just call it cylinder. I'll call it exploding barrel texture. Let's open up Blender again. And we'll go to our material. And where it says UV grid, click on the folder. And now you can open up a texture from your computer. And that's what we got so far. It's going to need a little bit of cleanup, but it's starting to look pretty good. I'm going to enhance the label a bit because it was kind of blurry. And so I'm going to sharpen it. It's going to make it a little more sharp and pronounced. I'm going to scale the layer just a bit to make it fit a little better. But I also want to clean off some of this rust from the label so that we can see it better. So I'm going to click on the rust layer, and I'm just going to erase a little bit of the label. Lower the size down of the eraser a bit. Just kind of clean it up just a bit. I don't want it too clean or else it'll look weird, but just a little bit so you can see the label better. I like that. Let's re-export and just reopen the same image and you'll see the difference. There we go, much better. It's looking pretty good. Let's go to viewport shading and let's set up a light. This will get us a better idea of what it will look like in game. So I'll just bring out a little sun, pull it out, and I'll just change the angle a bit. And we're about to manipulate the material a bit and get it looking even better. Change the roughness a bit. Add some metallic. I like that. And that's the final result. In the next tutorial, we'll be going over how to import this barrel into Unreal Engine, how to apply an Unreal Engine material to it, and how to make it explode. Thanks for watching.